Welcome everyone, my name is Cody Scott, and in this video, we're going to take a closer look together on how I color correct, color grade, and polish my Canon EOS R footage. Let's get into it. My friends, my family, and everyone else in between, welcome to a channel that teaches you how to explore, inspire, and engage as an active videographer. My name is Cody Scott, and if you're new to this channel, feel free to consider hitting that subscribe button and the like button if that's something you're into. Today we are going to take a look at this Canon EOS R footage. We're going to color correct it, color grade it, and probably turn this into a LUT that you guys can download and put on your footage if that's something that you're into. So each image can be different. It requires a little bit of finesse in different directions. First, you just have to take a look at it, see what's wrong with it, what can be improved. I'm going to start by picking my hero shot, and I can see as I get closer, the cup gets in focus a little more, which was the intention. I shot this last Christmas for a marshmallow company, and man, this turned out great. I used the Aperture 120D Mark II. I used another Aperture 120D Mark II, and as you can see back here, I put a little bicolor light. This is practicals, which means they were coming down from the ceiling, and then I had a golden bounce over here, but that's another video. So the first thing I'm looking at here is the angle of it. What I do want to do is actually come into the editor, click on my clip, and I actually just want to rotate it a little bit because it does look like it's off-centered, and it's just a little bit. It's not too much. Now I need to zoom in there, and I'm happy with that. Now I can get back to getting this show on the road. All right guys, so my process is fairly simple. For something like this, I always try to shoot in camera, get my colors, my exposure right in camera, because you're shooting straight out of camera with information like this. You don't really have too much of it. Actually, you don't have too much information to work with, so that means you can't do too much to this image before it starts to lose quality and break apart. So the first thing we're going to add is my noise reduction. That's always the first thing I go for. Next up is going to be exposure, which we're pretty close to it already, and saturation, and then actually no, we're going to do HDR here, we're going to do saturation, then contrast, and then we're going to move into cleaning up the image a little bit, getting these whites to look really clean. And after we do that, we will make it pop out. We'll do some sharpening and then some grain. And I think that is what we're going to do here. All right, once I get that under control, once I get a better idea of what I'm going to do, then I just label them, and they might change a little bit, and we might add some more, but we'll see what happens when we go through this. We're going to do HDR. DaVinci Resolve has this new function. It's an HDR mode. It's located right down here. That thing is awesome, by the way. You might want to learn how to use it. It's going to be your best friend. Exposure, and then clean is what I call it. There we go. And now everything is nice and set up. All right, so let's just go for it, guys. So first thing is noise reduction. Noise reduction is right down here. I changed the frames to 3. 4 is good here. There's not too much noise in here. Always remember to break the chain before you type it in here, or else both the numbers are going to change. 4 is good here, and 0.3 is okay here. You can see it down in the shadows here. Watch what happens. See that? And you can also see when you look on your scopes, it's making a difference. So that just cleans the image up, and that's what we're trying to do here. Next up is color. Now, we nailed the colors. I do want to boost the colors over here just by 2.5 and the saturation just by a tiny bit. Remember, guys, with footage like this, it's not about big changes. It's about small changes that add up. You can see in the cup that this is already working. Next up is exposure. Now, it does look like I do need some more details in the mid-tones, just a little bit though. Just a little bit. See, that makes a small difference. Now this light is clipped, that information is lost. There's no bringing it back. You can see if I brought my highlights all the way down, There's no bringing it back, but there is a trick that we can do, and it has to be done at the very beginning. So I could take a mask and draw around this little circle here, bring it down and feather it out, and take your highlights and bring it down. Now, it doesn't recover them, it just brings it down and tricks the eye into making it look like that information is there, but it's still clipped. You can see right here that it's still clipped. But it does look better nonetheless. And if you wanted to keep it in the entire frame, you just track it. And in DaVinci Resolve, it tracks the mask really well. You might have to make some manual changes. So for that, you just press frame, go all the way back, put it over here, track forward until that person walks up, which is my wife. Boop, right there, and you're good. Come over to frame, pop it over there. DaVinci just needs a few little, boom. And we are good, fine there. I'm listening to classical music right now in my headphones, and this sounds beautiful. You guys just have to admire the classical music. It really does dial me in. Anyway, we're gonna get to HDR in just a second. I do this for everything. Every clip that I grade, I bring it down to 97, come over to my bars, bring the lumen back up to 1, but it makes a big difference. What that's doing is cleaning up the whites just to pop a little more. All right, next we're going into our HDR. Now, all this stuff that's happening here, I do want to bring the exposure down of all these things that are just blobs of white. So you're going to do that with light. It's kind of like your midtones. Come over to your exposure and just bring it down. Bring it down. Right there. And what I'm looking at is trying to get this down to about 70, 80. And now shadows, to get that classic HDR look, bring them shadows up. Look at that. Now look, you see how big of a difference that makes, guys, using these HDR function? That's a game changer right there. Come over to my highlights, and I do want to just stretch them things on up. Yeah, there we go. Now look at this. Now it's popping, but we're gonna pop it out even further over here. So let's do it. Open up your effects, and this is the secret ingredient. Type in glow, then drop it in there. Come down to composite type and change it to soft light. Now, I like to play around with the brightness, so I'll bring the brightness up. I'll bring the shine threshold down a little bit. Opacity, I will bring down just a little bit. And the spread, I open it up. Now, you can see before and after. That gives it that crisp, creamy finish, that glow that you ever so desire in your shots. Now, it is a tasteful thing. This is a Christmas commercial, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm not saying you need to do this for every shot, but I mean, it looks good. Sharpness, so you go over to your blur and then bring that sharpness down. So let's backtrack here. You got all these little things to work with. You click on the eyedrop little triangle one. You have these 3 dots to work with. Make sure it says blur over here. And then just go into the R, G, B. Click on the R, G, B, it doesn't matter which one. Just bring it down. Down sharpens it up. And then it blurs if you go the opposite direction. So we'll reset, bring it down to about 47. I don't ever go below that. Now grain. We're making this look like a film. So we're going up to our grain, drag our film grain onto our node. Boop. Come down to 35400T. Would bring up the grain size and then grain strength. There it is, and you'll see it right here in the shadows. It's subtle. It's good grain. It is good grain because it blends everything else together. All right, that is looking pretty good. I do just want to come over here and bring up the highlights just a little bit. Now make sure you have editable splines on. And I just want to bring them up just a little bit, not too much. And what I'm doing is trying to get it right to 80. the Luma levels, not the RGB, but the Luma levels. And now this all looks good. It does look like there is too much red in the image according to this little thing. And to do white balance, which is what I'm aiming to do, you could click on this little eyedropper, and it does get you close if you can find something white. Now this isn't true white, but I can tell that it gets me pretty close to it. And you can see where those circles are at right up here. That works. It does look like that there is still a little, there's just not enough green in the image, so I am gonna push it just a little bit over there. Boom. And I'm fine with that, guys. The auto tools work, they get you close, but they're not perfect, so just get them there and you'll be good. And wow, that makes the world of difference now. And that pop, yes. And guys, that image is done. If you guys found this video helpful and you want to learn more, click those links below. Hit that subscribe button, the like button if that's something you're into, or that dislike button too. I'll see you guys in the next one.